Hello, I'm Dr. Bhawani Adhikari. I have brought a new chapter today. This is an essay, Ground Zero. It is in bachelor's course written by Susan Ben Byrne. Ground Zero is a descriptive essay written by Susan Byrne. It is based on the September 11, 2001 terrorist attack that destroyed the Twin Towers of New York's World Trade Center and created the horror and fear in the world. The cameras captured the collapse of the towers while the victims jumped to their deaths. The three hijacked aircrafts that crashed into these targets, and the fourth aircraft crashed into the field in rural Pennsylvania and caused the death of some 3,000 people. Then this place was called Ground Zero. The real event became like a movie, and it created fear throughout the world. It was a cold March morning when the writer visited Manhattan's financial district. She had never been there, and she came there to pay the due respect to the victims of the World Trade Center. Despite the raw wind, many other people had chosen to show due respect that day. It was a little rainy too. What she saw was a crowd of people. There was nothing but she saw the crowd of people. People were People wearing woolen hats pulled over their ears were from everywhere. There were people everywhere from the world. They were Germans, Italians, Japanese, Norwegian families came to get their relatives victims there. The people who were victimized in Twin Towers, they had come and then they were standing, they were looking, they were waiting for their victim's dead body. And it was the scene of the crowd that the writer went there and saw. And perhaps this was unexpected and unimagined scene that she had seen for the first time in her life. It was a kind of her pilgrimage. She had come there, but it was quite to give the due respect to the dead people of the World Trade Center's attack. There were children, middle-aged and old people, and from Ohio, California, and Maine. These were the people from all groups of all ages of people were there. Many of them were catching video cameras and recorders to take scenes of the ground zero. Yes, she saw many people catching cameras and even recorders just to get the videos of the scene. There was nothing to see, but nothing was something much more important. There was nothing because it was disaster, death, and nothing to see. But nothing within nothing was something much more important to see in that particular day. And the people were around there in the ground zero to see. The ground zero looked like a construction site because there were people working. There was wooden scaffolding, that means supporting wooden points. Cranes were there, bulldozers were there, forklifts were there, trailers were there, and construction workers in the hard hats and even dust was there. Construction workers were working there. They were taking the dead body out of the ditch. There was a roar of heavy machines and trucks backing up. Number of roar, noise was there. Ground zero was just like the bowl of light because light was put inside. And when the writer came out of the light from that ground zero, and she thought that it was just like coming out of the drama theater hall into the bright day. The periphery skyscrapers were covered by black plastics because the dust they wanted to cover it did not want to allow go there. It was made across by two rusted girders. The iron fences were almost invisible there inside the just ground zero. There were dried pine wreaths. Wreaths means flowers offered in the for the dead bodies. Banners were there, ribbons were there, laminated poems were there, prayers were there, photographs and flags from everywhere. Little American flags, flags on T-shirts, flags on hats, and flags on posters. They were almost seen, found all over the ground zero. The elderly man was standing with his son, and he said that he had seen ground zero before the twin towers were made, saw the towers being built, and now he saw. That means this elderly man was there before, and he had seen that place before the construction of the twin towers, which were attacked. And now he had also seen when the twin towers were being built. He was there at that time, and now he has come again here without the twin towers. They were just collapsed, and he is recalling the absence before there was absence, and there was absence, and now also there is absence. He told his son to get out of there because he did not like to stay there for more time. He was completely dissatisfied. He was discontented, and he did not like to see the scene over there, whatever he saw, because it was the disaster of human beings. Again and again, the writer heard people saying, "It is unbelievable." People were saying all unbelievable and unbelievable. And people would turn to one another and be satisfied, but they did not become satisfied, right? They wanted to say something more meaningful, but stared means looked at the devastation that they had not imagined, they had not expected, and they could not say anything about the more meaningful ideas. The writer had in her mind that people were watching the images on television. She thought that people were watching the images in television in the same way as she is watching now. And newspaper pictures people were watching. That is what she thought in her mind. The collapsing buildings they were watching in television. That she thought. The running of his workers. She thought that people were watching. And the black plume means a smoke. Just of smoke against the bright blue sky. The smoke was coming from that twin towers, and perhaps she imagined, she thought that people were watching these things from television, from newspaper pictures, and other means of social media. The World Trade Center photograph booklets were at tables set up on street corners. The writer wanted the tickets, but the security officers got frowned, means became angry at her to seek the tickets in the disaster, because it was not the time to go there inside with the tickets for the pleasure. It was not the place of entertainment and joys and just like a delight. It was the place of mourning, place of sadness, tragedy, and unhappiness. She went she went and got. There is a K. There is a type mistake, right? And went and got is wrong. She went upstairs and got in a line, right? And got the ticket. She went in the line. The got, there is a mistake. She went in the line and got the ticket. First got is removed, please, from there. She saw a magician entertaining the crowd. There was a magician, conjurer, right? Juggler was there, and the next show would start at 4 p.m. and his magician's show was ended, and he announced that it would start at 4 p.m. again. She walked off Fulton Street, where she got the smell of fish in the air. She went up, and from there she got the ticket, perhaps. She went into the second floor dining area and ordered the pastrami sandwich, means that okay, beef mixed sandwich she had ordered. There was an honor guard to the dead body, and everyone stopped eating, and several people stood up to show respect to the dead body. That was the condition. The ambulances took the dead bodies, and the trucks were traveling up and down. The writers came out of the disaster. She got the ticket there, and she went inside, and she came out of the disaster and found a crowd of people, and watching people wrote. See there, what people wrote? "God bless America" on the plywood walls. She found these things there in the image. The writer had her pilgrimage, and she would never come there if it had not had got ground zero. She had her pilgrimage. This in place of has, you can write she had her pilgrimage, and she would never have come there if it had not had a ground zero, means if it had not taken place, that sort of incidents there in 2001 in September 11 in World Trade Center. People visited there either by curiosity or horror or reverence, means respect, or grief, or combination of all. And the space was filled up again. Again, the space, that ground zero, was filled up, even though this were people came either by curiosity or horror or fear or terror or reverence, or give respect or grief came. Thus, the writer has captured the tragic, melancholic, means sad, horrible, terrible, and fearful and unimaginable event of the World Trade Center of 2001 on September 11, when the world was in shock. At that time, the world was in shock. The whole world was in quite with full of tears and confusion, and there was no certainty, no positive vibration in the minds and thoughts of the people. It was all negative vibration, and negative news was going out throughout the world. From that time, the concept of terrorism arose. The description of the ground zero has done the mirror like reflection to the readers who can feel themselves being there at the time of event. So it gives a complete picture how the ground zero was there. So writer has become able to produce the real picture of the ground zero. And this ground zero was given the name after the Twin Tower was attacked by the planes, aircrafts. And this is how the descriptive essay describes everything exactly as it was, and the writer has captured the real event, real scene, and real key ideas what it was there. See, people were there from all around the world with number of flags, number of nationality, number of just their dress, and number of things whatever they had in their hands, and all of them were worried about the picture, about the scene, about the event, what it took place in America. It's all right. You can listen even my words, whatever I have said, and then aid your writings with my speech, and then you can even write the slides. Use the slides for your note making and for your preparation of the examination. Thank you.